Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, the day 13th October 2016. The first article is related to the kerosene free India. The direct benefits transfers proposed to kerosene, what are the challenges? Now, the DBT scheme is very much successful with regard to LPG cylinders. The government of India trying to provide for the same a scheme to rationalize the kerosene subsidy in India. Let us see what are the challenges over here. Now, the first thing is DBT to LPG is handled by three public sector undertakings, and the digitalized database of all the people who are the customers is available with them. Now, the kerosene database is a digitalized database of the consumers is still not available, and it is been handled by the states through their PDS system. So there will be a lot of incoordination between the states to prepare one common database of the kerosene subsidy beneficiaries. And second is, as per the responsibility distribution, the center is providing for the finances and the states are identifying the beneficiaries. So the states have no interest to bring in a fail proof system over here because the burden is not on them but on the center. And if you take the political economy over here, the states likes to show more beneficiaries to gain out of it. And third is, even the direct benefits transfers are being given, the access to this money is becomes difficult because the bank branches are not located in the vicinity of the people. And finally, the issue of diversion. What is this issue of diversion here? Most of the kerosene is diverted for mixing with the diesel, adulteration of the diesel. Now, even if the subsidies are removed, because of the excise duties, etc., on diesel, the difference of the price between kerosene and diesel is still stands to be very high. Till the price differentials are high, the kerosene can be diverted for the adulteration of the diesel. So, in these circumstances, if we carefully observe, there is a challenge over there. We can find an alternative over here. If you take the purpose of the kerosene in most of the rural households, it is for lightening. If you go for the urban households, it is both for lighting and also for as a cooking fuel it is used. So if you can shift the people from kerosene to the LPG cylinders, and alternative fuels such as solar bulbs are being provided that can be more effective than managing the kerosene and kerosene subsidy in India. So these are the alternatives suggested over here. Now let's go to the resetting of the moral compass. If you take UN, the major criticism about the UN is even after these many years, 70 plus years of establishment, there is no still one woman general secretary. And second, the countries such as Russia are demanding that the position of the general secretary shall be rotated across the countries or across the regions. So that's why it was pushing for a member from the Eastern Europe shall be placed in the placed as the UN General Secretary. So finally, it is the Portuguese Prime Minister Antonio Guterres. He got into the hot seat. So here there are certain issues about the personality. Mr. Antonio Guterres, he is a feminist, a declared feminist by himself, and acted as the chief of UN High Commissioner for Refugees. So at that point of time, his work has got the applauds, and this guy was able to state that he was intended to reduce the gap between the policy and implementation, and he has literally did that. And the refugee issue has become such a big thing, or big discussion during his era, and the states were forced to take an action on admitting the refugees. Now, today we are going through a very volatile global situation. Especially if you see the Middle East, there is a lot of instability. North Africa, there is a lot of instability and war everywhere. So, we need to have a man in the seat who can give the primacy to diplomacy over the war. So, this is what Mr. Antonio is capable of. That's the author talks about. Now, draft water bill. Now, if you observe, in India, one of the major problem between the states is interstate water disputes. So, in this context, let us discuss how it has to be solved. Now, the second ARC has clearly stated that the center did not play apt role in solving the interstate river water disputes. Because of this, the river water disputes got worsened. If you take the Kaveri river water dispute itself, the center took at least 6 years to declare the award and it did not establish till the river management board. So, in this context, a draft water bill, a framework bill is being brought in by the center, which says that the water is a right. So, there has to be an equitable right for all the states over the water. Understand? It is not the equal right on the water, it is equitable right. It means a sharing proportionate to their requirement. And the second is the first priority for the drink water in the rivers is for drinking. So it assures that this particular right of the state shall not violate the right to water to life of the citizens. Now, if you finally observe, water is a state subject, and the law passed by the union is not mandatory and it is not obliging on them. And it also considers the states as the public trustees of the rivers, and they do not have the natural rights over the rivers. So this is what is draft water bill is talking about. And coming to BRICS summit, it is going to be held in Goa. In this, the BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Now, many people say that the BRICS is a very skewed arrangement, and some people see it as a successful South to South cooperation. So, in this case, the China and Russia are two big economies that are trying to dominate the BRICS. And on this, China is too a strong economy and it occupies the 50% of the GDP of all these countries together. And second is, the BRICS is seen as an arrangement of the Russia and China to have the voice of the developing world with them. That is the second criticism. So India's closer movement with the United States did not go well with China and Russia. And Russia also started selling its arms to Pakistan and conducted joint exercises, military exercises with them. So, China being our neighbor, we have to go for an engagement, a cooperative engagement where the mutual interests are getting strengthened. And with regard to Russia, we have to assure that it is a global partner. So it is the foremost global partner to India. Whatever the apprehensions that Russia has, these apprehensions need to be removed. And coming to this, the IPSA is also having a separate meeting over there. So there is a difference between IPSA and the BRICS. The IPSA is consists of all the democratic nations. And second is the IPSA is a true representation of South to South cooperation. And third, Brazil is slowly moving towards the United States, and South Africa also has serious differences with China and imposing of its trade norms on South Africa. So, in this context, India can act as a bridge between the IPSA and other democratic countries in the West, that is US and Germany. So that will be a win-win situation, and a democratic alignment will also be created simultaneously. And another which has been called for this BRICS summit, it is BIMSTEC. It has a strong role in India's Act East policy. In this, the BIMSTEC connects the South Asia with Southeast Asia. So here, India is looking for East, especially for Eastern India's development, and also to widen its engagement with the world. Now, though here China has its presence, China also has its problems with these countries, especially with regard to South China Sea. So now Russia, Brazil, South Africa, they don't have any strong engagement with these countries, that is BIMSTEC countries. India can facilitate and India can be interlocutor for the same. So this BRICS summit is going to be an opportunity for India to facilitate itself. And coming to this article, Recently, a Pakistani journalist by name Cyril Almeida, he has reported that the civilian government has asked the military establishment not to be involved with the terror activities. If not, Pakistan would face the diplomatic isolation. So, and he was restrained and he was ordered not to leave the Pakistan. So now, at the BRICS summit, terrorism is also expected to be an issue for discussion, and India might push for IC this international convention against terrorism, and it may ask for the support of the BRICS nations. And coming to this, China has proposed for a BRICS free trade agreement, and Mr. Rob from South Africa, he opposes with the same, saying that the economies are not equal in the BRICS. So if free trade agreement is being made, the smaller economies such as South Africa, which are majorly primary products based, will get worst affected. Now they want to use the liberal space available to them to industrialize and gain from the fourth generation industrial revolution that heavily relies on technology. Now, Sri Lanka, the major problem in the Sri Lanka is so the minority and majority conflict, that is Sinhala and Tamil conflict, and Buddhist Hindu conflict by religion. So now 1972 and 78 constitutions, they have given the primacy to Buddhism, and now it has been expected that a secular constitution is under the way in the new draft constitution. But however, the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has said that the Buddhism will retain its significance under the new constitution, throwing the new doubts on the secular orientation of the Sri Lanka. If you observe, when the Sinhala language was imposed on the Tamilians, that is what is the first time alienation of the Tamils has started, and it sowed the seeds for the civil war. So in this case, this discrimination is one thing which can worsen the situation in Sri Lanka. Coming to the World Economic Forum's report, it states that India, the companies of India, these are among first 30, or there are almost 30 companies in the list, which are fast growing global giants. So, according to them, India's market size, innovation environment, these are the reasons for growing or growth of these entities. So, the 30 fastest growing companies in the world are now located in India. So, that shows the innovative climate which we have. So, these are the articles for today. Thank you very much and all the best.